Definitely had some challenges growing up as a kid. I was unfortunately abused by people I went to church with. So it caused a lifetime of severe mental conditions. You mentioned them: DID, bipolar, PTSD, and severe ADHD. And I did not believe that I could overcome my former life. And then I had an experience where I drowned. And when I drowned, I left and I went someplace else. And when I came back, I was not the same person in any way. And then, I'm just going to say it. I'm a walking miracle, and it set me on a path of discovery. Along the way, I learned a better way to live. And so that's what I do now. I teach love to people and companies.
Welcome to Linda's Corner, where we bring more hope, healing, and happiness to the world. My name is Linda Bjork, and today we're going to be talking about the equation of life and abundant happiness. I'm delighted to welcome Thayne Martin. Thayne is an executive, entrepreneur, noted motivational speaker, podcast host, the creator of the XM NeuroConditioning and Life and Abundant Happiness Framework, and is a survivor of severe childhood trauma and NDE. You can learn more about Thayne at his website, itspurelove.com, and I'll include that link in the show notes. Welcome, Thayne. I'm so glad that you could join with me today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
I'm looking forward to hearing your story. There are so many people out there who are struggling with things, and many people think, okay, if I've dealt with any of these hard things, if I have experienced an abusive childhood, if I have experienced depression, if I've experienced PTSD, or dissociative identity disorder, or ADHD, or a near-death experience, or any of these horrible things, it's game over for me.
Yeah.
My life is doomed to be miserable. So we're going to say that that's not necessarily true.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did not believe that I could overcome my former life. I did not believe that. And then, you know, I, I'm just gonna say it. I'm a walking miracle, and I'm grateful to be alive. Okay. Definitely had some challenges growing up as a kid. I was unfortunately abused by people I went to church with. The
Oh,
people I
man.
should have been able to trust were the very people that hurt me and then judged me. So it caused a lifetime of severe mental conditions. You mentioned them: DID, bipolar, PTSD, and severe ADHD. And, I knew a life of over medication. I've been over medicated by physicians, and that was what I knew. And then I had an experience where I drowned. And when I drowned, I left and I went someplace else. And when I came back, I was not the same person, not the same person in any way. And it set me on a path of discovery to try and remember everything that I could from that crazy experience. And then ultimately learning from that experience and then creating the company that I have today called It's Pure Love. And I poured myself into neuroscience because I spent a lifetime trying to heal. And while many things were certainly helpful, I would say this: I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my first therapist. Very grateful to her. But along the way, I learned a better way to live. And so that's what I do now. I teach love to people and companies.
Wow. May I ask, how old were you when you drowned, when you had this experience?
Yeah, so it was actually August 13th of 2023.
Okay,
Very
so this was
recent.
pretty recent. Were you in
Yeah.
the ocean? Were you in a pool? What was
No,
the
I
scenario?
was, yeah, so I was swimming by myself, and I had been given medication the day before, and I had never taken the medication. And I took the medication. I wasn't sleeping real well, and I decided to go for a swim. The house was quiet. My wife was asleep. One of my daughters was home, but I had a seizure. It caused me to have a massive reaction to the medication, and I ended up drowning in the pool. That's what happened. And the best thing I could tell you is I woke up at the bottom of the pool. That is literally when I woke up. I don't know how I got there, but I woke up, literally my eyes opened up and I was underwater. And I knew that I couldn't stay there because I knew my lungs were full of water. But I started praying. I started praying, and I had this little voice that said, "Thayne, lift your head." So I lifted my head and I went like this. I just literally went like this. And when I looked up, there was a pocket of oxygen that was in my throat, and it went into my lungs, and it gave me enough oxygen and energy to be able to get my body to begin slowly responding. Because when I took control of my body again, it wasn't like all the motor skills weren't there. I couldn't swim, essentially, but I was able to surface and get oxygen and cough the water out. But as I laid there on the side of that pool alone, I realized I stared up at the stars and the moon, and I realized I was incredibly lucky to be there. And from that day forward, I became fascinated with the cosmos and things I'll just say that I don't have any history of. I don't I'm not a scientist, but yet I understand science things. And the thing that came about for me was this understanding that all physical matter is governed by the same properties, everything. And physical matter as a human emotion, it's the same thing. Human emotion is physical matter. So therefore, if the entire universe sustains in perfect balance, could I not apply the same principles to human emotion? And what would that look like? And I sat down on this crazy path with this idea that somehow I could write something that would help people learn how to balance the emotional energy in their life. And that's what the equation of life and abundant happiness is. It is a framework for living. It is rooted deeply, deeply, deeply in unconditional love and gratitude, which are two of the most powerful neuroscience tools on the planet. And I learned that, yeah, it does work. So it kind of goes like this. We add those things in life that brings forth goodness and joy. We subtract those things that don't serve us, that don't bring us joy, and we let it go. And the expectation of us is that we achieve neutral balance, that magical state where everything exists in the here and now in perfection. Then we take our action and our intention and we put it out into the world and we call upon this higher power that everybody gets to name and we multiply it. That's multiplication. And so it grows. So that goodness that we created in the world grows. It gets bigger. But what did we learn? There's one more operator. It's called division. It comes after multiplication. And division is about taking the expanded goodness that we created as co-creators with this universe and this thing upstairs that we all get to define, and we divide it. Because we have to take what we need and a little bit more. That's called safety. That's called abundance. That's a cost from the heart. But anything above and beyond the cost from the heart is excess money. It's excess. You don't need it. So you put it back into the system. You donate it away. You put it into charity. And when you do that, the entire world will balance perfectly. We will never have scarcity. We will never have fear. We will never have poverty. And that's exactly how we are supposed to be living. The final expression is that of gratitude. The equal sign is gratitude. And I learned from a social media experiment where I spent 365 days waking up every morning to watch that sunrise. And I'm actually on day like 567 now. I haven't missed one sunrise, and it's part of my routine. I get up every morning, I watch that sun come up, and I celebrate my life, and I'm grateful. And I spend the rest of my day in gratitude, because gratitude is how I live. And I have a motto that I use. It's called Dare to be Second. And because it takes courage to live in gratitude, the number 2 is reflective of the fact that gratitude is bidirectional. It's about giving and receiving. The word be is about the state of being. When we live in gratitude, it's a state of being. And then lastly, the word second. It's a reminder of the precious here and now, the moment where the magic exists. And it's a reminder of the most powerful position in the world, which is actually second place. Dare to be second.
Wow. Okay. I may have you review that one for me. Okay. So you have said so many amazing and wonderful things, and you have covered some math and some science and some religion, some spirituality. We've got a little bit of this and that and the other.
Mhm,
And it is so wonderful that really, when we get the system, when we get the process right,
mhm.
it is very simple. And the crazy thing is that
Yes,
it works for all circumstances.
it
And
does.
yet, when you're in a lot of circumstances that you're struggling, it feels like, that is so stupid. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
that doesn't apply to anything whatsoever. So, we're just gonna say, here's an experience and that it works. And let's go back a little bit and we're gonna help people who have never heard of this before, who think, wow, we got a couple crazy people talking here. Let's go back a little bit and talk about just basic energy, because you talked about, hey, everything is working under the same principles. There are governing laws, and we tend to think that if I can see it, if I can touch it, then it's real, and anything else isn't real. But if we look in a microscope, we start with our body. You go in, you see your body systems. If you go in further and deeper, we're going to get some individual cells. Oh, that's really cool. Now, if we go deeper, we're going to get into atoms. And if we go deeper into that,
Love
we're
it.
going to see energy. And
Yeah,
our bodies and everything is basically made up of space,
100% accurate. Yeah,
right?
we are on
With
the same
It's
page.
like, how do we exist? Because when you look
Yeah,
closer at it, it almost seems like we shouldn't, but we
yeah,
do. Here
yeah,
we are.
yeah.
So anyone who's listening, no, we're not two crazy people.
No,
We just have we're open to understanding things as they really are, not only as they appear. So
yes.
don't
Well
tune us
said.
out. We're still
Well said.
it's all good.
Well
And
said.
isn't it amazing that even emotions follow these same patterns and they
Yep.
matter? Crazy. Okay, so here we are, and we are going to be open to things beyond what we can see
Mhm.
because it matters and because it works. And when we get down to the very basics, there is a simple formula, and I loved it. Let's go over it
Yeah.
again. We're going
Yeah.
to do some addition. We're going to add
Yes.
things that benefit us, right? That help us be
Yeah.
happy.
We add things in life that bring forth goodness and joy. Yep. And then we
Goodness and joy.
subtract those things that don't bring forth joy and we
Mhm.
achieve neutral balance. So that's the expectation, kind of our side of the equation, so to speak. Like we all live in a universe that is interactive.
Mm.
Doesn't matter what you believe or how you believe it. We all know that we live in a world that responds to us. It does. So
Isn't that
when you understand that, you also understand the responsibility of the energy that you hold because your energy creates energy for others. So every action we create has a ripple effect that ripples for forever. So every word we speak goes on forever. You can't take it back. Like that's the one thing I learned in my NDE is that everything goes forever. And although I can't hear it with my ears, everybody else on the other side can. Yeah.
wow?
Yeah.
Boy,
So
that's quite a
yeah, I
responsibility to think I can't take it back. I need to
well,
be careful what
so
I say.
well, that is correct. But here's the thing. All you need to do is balance your energy. So if you like, I will say I lived a negative life. I lived a negative life. I was struggling to find out who I was. I was struggling with the worst mental health you could throw at an individual. And honestly, like multiple suicide attempts. I'm just going to be real. That was what I thought was the only way that I could make it through life was to check out. And man, what a mistake that would have been. Like that would have been the worst thing I could have ever done. So when you understand that we're here and we get to make choices and every choice we make matters and our number one job is to add what we can and let go of what we also know doesn't serve us and be neutral. You see, that's add and subtract. Then we learn multiplication. This is grade school, right? Multiplication was next. And multiplication is just about growth. Multiplication is love. It's your source of power in the universe, whatever you choose that to be. So it doesn't matter what you believe in the equation of life and abundant happiness. It applies to everybody because at the top of every religious framework is this thing called love. And we can all unite in love. And that's the hope of what I've created. So we grow our love. We engage our friends, our families, the creator up above, and we grow it. We make it bigger. And then we take what we need and then a little bit more because everybody understands the need for safety. And when you reach that number, whatever you have left over is excess. It's above the abundant number that you need. So you have to put it back into the world of which it came. And that's division. And sometimes division is about sharing things, sharing my goodness. Sometimes division, though, can also mean I've got a burden and I can't carry it by myself. But if I leverage my friends and family, they can help carry the weight of this burden. So division can also be applied in that way. So we add, subtract, multiply, divide. And if we do it perfectly, we reach the equal sign, which is gratitude. And
Gratitude.
when you adopt gratitude as your framework for living, then you become what we call in my program a coolie fly. This is actually the symbol right here of my
Coolie fly?
necklace. We call it a coolie fly. Yeah, it's a magical childhood character that's been with me since I was a little boy when I didn't have any friends. I had a magical friend that was a butterfly. And so to this day, I carry it with me. And it's made up of 4 hearts, 4 imperfect human hearts. And when they're assembled perfectly, you get a transparent heart in the center here. And once
Oh,
you
wow,
learn how
that's
to
cool.
live transparent and you understand what that light actually means, then you can turn this necklace over and you see that it is pure light.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank
So
you for sharing that. That's amazing.
you're welcome.
Okay. So everything, I appreciated the review and I appreciated that you added some information here that helps me to understand really the depth of transformation for you. You mentioned earlier that you get up in the morning and rejoice at the sunrise, and
Mhm,
you're grateful that you're here and that you have a new day.
mhm.
And you said that in the past, you had multiple suicide attempts,
Yes.
which is very much the opposite of being grateful that you're here.
Mhm.
So I'm thankful that you are still here, and I'm thankful that you are happy
Yes.
and
Very.
happy and grateful to be here.
Yeah.
And I think it also helps for people to understand the depths that we can come from, the
Yes.
depths of misery
Yes.
that we can heal
Yes.
from, and
Yes.
that we can become whole, and that we can
Yes.
become happy.
Yes. 100%. 100%. You can actually be better than 100%. That's how I feel.
I love it. I
I've
love it.
never been happier or more abundant in my life because I learned how to balance my emotional energy. And we do it through neuroscience. So in my course, I use 101 experiences that are designed to help a person see how they show up in the world. So I use a deck of cards, and when you pull a card, there's an exercise on that card, and it'll tell you what the exercise is about. And then it has like a pre reflection and a post reflection after you complete the exercise. They range from as easy as like probably one easiest cards is called Smile Marathon. And on Smile Marathon, you're going to go sit in the lobby at a hospital or maybe it's the shopping mall. And you're going to find a beautiful park bench and you're going to sit down. And for 30 minutes, you're going to smile at every person that walks by. And you're going to notice your own feelings and what happens to you as you begin smiling for 30 minutes straight. And then you're also going to learn what happens when people smile back and what thoughts you create around those interactions. And in just 30 minutes, you're going to see that there's actually love in the world and it's all over the place. And it's our job to help create it and to perpetuate it. So, what could you learn in that 30-minute exercise of just smiling and not interacting people? That's one of the first cards.
That's fantastic.
Thank
So
you.
I love that this is experiential. And as I was looking through your website, there were just a few quotes that I just loved. They kind of popped out at me.
Okay.
And one of them was what we feel, we learn, and what we
Yes.
learn, we master.
Yes.
So, what a beautiful way to learn something. I mean, I'm not just reading a book. I'm
Exactly.
doing, and I think, and we have to do in order to change. Don't you think?
Yes. 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 Experiential learning has a 90% retention. Traditional learning is only 10%. So when people work with me, you're not going to get a book. You're going to get cards, and I'm going to load them onto your phone. I'm going to teach you the symbols of the equation of life and abundant happiness. There's actually 16 kind of core principles that I teach along with it. But you're also going to get the deck of cards. And your job is to go through that deck of cards multiple times a year, because every time you pull that card, you're going to be interacting with somebody different in a different place in a different time. And the experience will never be the same. And that's what's so beautiful about this.
I love it. So that's helpful to know. So with 101, are you going through like one a day or a couple a day
Yeah,
or?
so what I recommend is initially I want you to go through those cards as quickly as possible.
Oh,
It's going to take you about a month to get through all the cards. Some of them are quick and easy. Some of them do take some setup. Like, for example, one of the cards I ask you to donate a couple hours at a homeless shelter serving food to underprivileged people. So that's going to take a little bit of setup. You're going to have to find a place where you can volunteer. There's a little bit of work that has in order to make that happen. But that's just one example of a really beautiful experience where you get to serve and meet the people that you most days walk by. My experience in that line was incredibly moving for me, because I found people in that line were just like me. There were engineers, there was an attorney, and they were just like me, and they were homeless. And I could be just like that. And that's what made me realize that we're all the same. We are all the same, but we can all unite in love when we help each other. It's truly my goal, my hope is to bring the equation of life and abundant happiness to the masses so that we can heal this world with the most important word of all. It's gratitude. Because gratitude is it's the spark and fuel for love. And I've learned that because you can't go up to a stranger and give them love without getting hit. Okay, or you're calling the police. But I can create gratitude with a perfect stranger in such a way that it'll move their heart and it'll move mine. And that's how we heal the world. It's just gratitude. I literally start and end every conversation in gratitude. It's my habit now. And I wouldn't change a thing. And people that have learned this, they all live abundantly happy lives today. And they've learned how to balance their emotional energy. And they don't have a bad day. I haven't had a bad day in over 2 years. Seriously.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask for some clarification on that.
Okay.
Does that mean that nothing bad has ever happened?
No, I've had plenty bad, plenty bad.
Right.
My daughter just came last week and said my husband and I are looking at separating. And I'm
Mm.
trying to deal with that. We got 3 little boys involved. And normally, as a father, that would have knocked me over and I would have been really upset. But instead, I balanced that emotional energy. I put love into the equation and I said, okay, so now we've got a husband and wife that aren't getting along right here. And right now, I can be the agent that puts love into this. So my old self would have probably powered through there and killed her husband. But I knew that wasn't the right thing to do. The right thing to do is to love him unconditionally and help him get the helps that he needs so that he can be the man that I know he can be. Right. So, no, I have had many bad things, but I've learned to balance my emotional energy immediately. And we do it. I don't have it on at the moment. I actually have a bracelet that I train with. And I use the bracelet as a cognitive pattern interrupt. And once you master that sequence, you'll use that sequence the rest of your life. Anytime you feel emotional energy is negative, I teach you how to use something. It's just cognitive pattern interrupt and something that you can say that'll take the thought from the amygdala and bring it over to your prefrontal cortex where you can rationally process it.
I love that. And thank you for sharing that because sometimes I think we need that extra clarification of what our expectations are, that
Yeah.
life doesn't flow smoothly all the time.
No.
Things happen. And it doesn't mean that because things happen, then we have to be miserable. And if everything goes well, then we could be happy. This
Right.
choosing to be grateful,
Yes.
choosing to do love. And
Yes.
that choice makes all the difference. So
Yeah.
thank you. I
Well
appreciate
said.
it very much.
Yeah. Well
Now,
said.
I love how you mentioned, and I like to get back into the science a little bit, where
Mhm.
you said we can take it from our amygdala, which is our fear center, and we can
Yes.
put it into the part of our brain that is our prefrontal cortex, where we have decision making and conscious thought. We're not just reacting in fear,
Yes.
we can make a choice. And I would love to go through. You had five core scientific pillars to explain about meaningful behavioral change. And you
Uh-huh.
talked about neuroplasticity
Yep.
and experiential learning, which we covered a little bit,
Hmm.
emotional neurochemistry,
Hmm.
metacognition, and awareness training, and
Hmm.
then social and relational neuroscience. So, is it okay if we just briefly explain each one of these and help people maybe who this is feels new to? This is real.
Yes.
This is the answer to a happy, joyful life.
Yeah.
And this is available to you,
Yes.
not just the person next to you,
Anybody
to
can learn
you.
this. Yes. So I'm going to put it in words that make sense for the average person. Because if I talk science, I'm going to lose people. So
Yes.
let's put it this way. All right. When we approach somebody, we all have a subconscious mind that is filtering information. And specifically in my program, we work with strangers. We work with people that we don't know. And there's a reason why. It's because when I approach somebody knowing that I'm going to create gratitude with them and they're a stranger, I don't know them and they don't know me. For me, I am walking up to a person and I'm going to get vulnerable and I'm going to share a piece of my heart with them. So my brain's going to automatically identify this as a safe situation, but it's also risky because I don't know what this person's going to say to me. And I don't know if I'm going to get my words out in a way that's effective and it comes across authentic. So my body's going to release something called vasopressin into my blood system. And that vasopressin is going to make my heartbeat go up and I'm going to start paying attention. All right. So the person that I'm creating the gratitude is also going to do the same thing because now all of a sudden they're looking at a person who just used their name. They got a burst of acetylcholine into their blood system, and now they're looking at a stranger. And their body has done the same thing. They projected average or negative from this personal interchange. So when I train people, the next step of this is to create genuine, authentic gratitude with that human being. So I then pour from my heart my love and my authentic love to this human for doing what it is that they're doing for me. And I make it count. When I do that, both my brain and their brain receive something that they predicted incorrectly. That's the predictive mismatch that happens with memory consolidation. So what's going on there is I just delivered love, kindness, and gratitude. So both of us are going to get a burst of oxytocin and dopamine into our blood systems. And both you and I are most likely going to be emotionally moved because what you just felt was the deepest love known to man. Unconditional love between strangers. And when you do it correctly, you're going to get a feeling that'll overwhelm your body. It starts at the top of your head, it tingles through the whole body, and eventually the vagus nerve activates and you feel the vagus nerve wave as it comes online. Most people, if you do it correctly, you'll end up in tears, and so will they. And what happens then is the brain, both of our brains had predicted that this was going to be an average to a negative experience. But we just proved to our subconscious nervous systems we were both wrong. So what happens is the brain recognizes that it made a mistake and it updates that old trigger with this new experience and this new memory. And so it's like cramming and slamming love into the brain the deepest possible way. And it updates that memory, and I'm talking rapid growth. So I just created new neural pathways in my brain when I did that. And all of those pathways that I created were rooted in kindness and love and gratitude. And that one experience with that one stranger, you will never forget, ever. So that's one of the core exercises in my program. And once you master it, I teach you how to do it. And once you master it, you can create love anywhere in the world. And you're going to get what we call a gratitude cocktail. And then you're going to be like the rest of us coolie flies and be a gratitude junkie, going out there and sharing love with people randomly everywhere. And when we do, it fills our heart, it fills their heart, and I will never, ever have a bad day.
That is absolutely beautiful.
That's
To
how
be
it
able to
works.
transform our interactions
Yeah.
with people. And
Mm-hmm.
your beautiful comments about sharing love with a stranger.
Yes.
And I've had recently some conversations with a friend, associate, who is feeling very down on life and says, people are terrible. In this world, it is kill or be killed. And because of where his state of mind is and not being open to accepting anything else, there isn't a whole lot to do except to just allow them to have their experience.
Mm-hmm.
But there's such a different opportunity available for people who are willing to open their hearts and open their
Yes.
minds.
Yes.
This world, even though we have hard things that happen, even though there's a lot of uncertainty and unrest,
Mm-hmm.
we can still experience joy and feelings of peace and safety, which
Yes.
are two things that so many people crave.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, that was awesome. All right, there was another quote that I really, really love that I'd like to bring up if that's okay.
Of
And it
course.
says, resilience is rooted deeply in self-confidence, knowing that whatever challenge life throws at us, we can always balance perfectly if we stay present in our minds. And you
Yes.
kind of covered that a little bit, but
Yeah.
there's a word in there that we hadn't talked about, and it was self-confidence. Can you kind of expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. So when in my program, I've learned one of the biggest challenges we have as humans is we're never present. We're distracted by our phones, by a world like we're absorbing more information far faster than our brains have evolved. That's what's going on. And so I start with awareness. And when you get awareness and you learn to control the beautiful present moment, and then you begin experiencing little subtle exercises that prove to you that you can balance in the moment and stay present and not lose my crap. Little by little, you build resilience in the form of confidence. Eventually, that confidence reaches the point where you understand that there's literally nothing in this life or world that I cannot balance appropriately in this moment. And that's truly like what resilience is the ability to stand up from nothing and always be able to stand. And it comes from that confidence, that experience of knowing that I can.
Oh, that's beautiful. And you did it in baby steps.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Baby
awesome.
steps. Yeah. Because, we learn by repetition. That's Habian learning. We know that if we repeat things while experiencing strong emotion, it sits in our brain. Sadly, in our age group, if I say September 11th, everybody knows where you were that morning because we all experienced it and you remember it with vivid detail. So I'm using that same mechanism that caused you to remember that with vivid detail, except I'm doing it inside of these little teeny tiny micro experiences where you're going to meet people that you think are not going to be what you think. And then you're going to find out that amongst this human population is a lot of love. And we can find it through gratitude. And when you do, and you live that way, dare to be second. That's my motto, right? Because if you think about it, like God puts us first and God is second. Truth. On the other side of the equal sign is us. And in order to make it mathematically be perfect, we flip it. So that means I put God first and me second. And mathematically, they cancel out and you achieve perfection and balance, which is neutral, right? Because
You
that's where God lies. Neutral. Neutral.
fantastic. Thank you. This has been fascinating. Is there anything else you want to make sure we cover before we close today, Thayne?
Don't give up. Okay. And if and I would tell you also, seek out other forms of healing. That's what I would say. There are other modalities out there that can heal things. I know in my case, my protocol is going to be studied clinically. We're going to be taking this to a university soon at the end of the year. And we're going to study this protocol because the qualitative results that we have had thus far have been amazing. So know that you can heal from anything, anything. I did not believe it was possible, but I am. And I'm so thankful that I didn't give up. And I'm grateful to just be here every day. Thankful.
I'm grateful you didn't give up too. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
In closing, I'd like to share a quote by Joshua Kai. He said, "Even the smallest shift in perspective can bring about the greatest healing." Today, I invite our listeners to make the shift that brings a life of happiness and abundance. See you next time on Linda's Corner. Thanks for tuning in to Linda's Corner podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with your friends to help us inspire even more listeners. Be sure to visit hopeforhealingfoundation.org for free and affordable resources to help you overcome life's challenges. And explore healingbreathworkdetox.com, where you'll find transformative tools for deep inner healing and lasting change. Also, don't forget to check out my books, Crushed, A Journey Through Depression, and You Got This, an action plan to calm fear, anxiety, worry, and stress. Your journey to hope, healing, and happiness starts here.